God is good, and so it is. All is well, and I am grateful. All is well, and now it's time to let it go. All is well, and I am grateful. God is good, and so it is. God is good, and so it is.
Thank you, our famous Rebecca Jade and Dave Kennedy, for starting this time in such a sacred, sacred way. Good morning. I'm Reverend Christina Tillotson, and I'm honored to especially welcome anyone who's here for the first time or hasn't been here for a while and has come back. And as you go out the door to the back, we have a special packet for you with a CD from Dr. Christian and some gift certificates for the bookstore and lots of really, really good, juicy information about us and about our philosophy and faith and way of life. So please pick one up, and thank you so, so much for sharing your light with us here today. And just so you know, we're a part of a worldwide organization called Centers for Spiritual Living that's based in Golden, Colorado, whose vision is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence for a world that works for everyone. So if you can align with that, whether you're new or have been here a million times, you are still in the exact right place. So thank you so much for being here. I love January and all of our centers because we go back to the basics of our of the science of mind, and it's the basic thing is that it's all God, it's all one, whatever you want to call it, and everything else is commentary about that. And so this is a reading from Dr. Christian and Dr. Peter Wildis's book, The Joyous Living Journal, about that. The circle with a dot in the center is perhaps one of the simplest and most incredible of symbols. The circumspect has been used throughout secret societies for millennia. In the language of symbology, it has represented the sun as well as the Egyptian sun god Ra. In the world of alchemy, gold, the perfect metal. It's been associated with the wisdom of the philosopher's stone, the moment of creation, and even the omniscient, all-seeing eye hovering atop the unfinished pyramid. The circle represents wholeness, perfection, oneness. Circumpunct has been associated with the Orphic egg and the seed within, or our universe within the heavens. It is the spark of the male within the cosmic womb, representing where the one becomes the many. It is a symbol of the unformed potential of the celestial realm. It is the perfect secret symbol to recognize God, to represent God. The circle being God in his omnipotential, and the dot as manifested you. All that you are, comes from that which you are in. So let's take these ideas into a short affirmative prayer. Just turning within to that circle of omnipresence, of light and love that's through that is all of its creation, all galaxies, all universes, from the tiniest atom to the farthest galaxy. And I call that circle God, but it doesn't matter what it's called. It's that power and that presence of light and love and creation throughout this universe and all universes. And that is who I am, and each one here is, and each one coming in online is. A dot in that circle of spirit. There's no place within each one that presence of Spirit is not. Because each one is all Spirit. And so I'm knowing for this sacred time together that each one absolutely allows that presence of Spirit to be revealed through and as them ever more brightly, ever more powerfully, allowing that realization of that moving within the circle of Spirit as the truth of each being right here and right now. And so I gratefully accept this realization of the truth, of the oneness, the God that all there is, of this time together, as I release this word to the law, knowing that it's now done in perfect oneness and realization and joy. And so it is. Amen.
Oh, yes. Good morning, Seaside. Happy Sunday. It is my honor to introduce our guest artist this Sunday, and I just love when I get to bring my friends here. My dear friend, she's an amazing singer, songwriter. She plays piano and sings, and she actually teaches music to the little children. So that is what she does during her day job, and we're so grateful to have her here to teach us a little bit about music this morning, sharing her gifts with us. So please, without further ado, help me welcome my dear friend, Mandy Jo.
You can have all the money in your hands, all the possessions anyone can ever have, but it's all worthless treasure. True worth is only measured not by what you got, but what you got in your heart. You can have everything. But what does it mean? It all means nothing if you don't stand up for something. 'Cause you can't just talk that talk, you got to walk that walk. Yes, you do. It all means nothing if you don't stand up for something. And I'll stand up for you. I'll stand up for you. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. You do the best that you can do. Then you look in the mirror, looking proud of who's back at you. Do you find the life you're living? Not by what you take, but what you're giving. And if you bet on love, there's no way you'll ever lose. Take a stand, make a stand for what's right. It's always worth the fight. It don't mean nothing if you don't stand up for something. 'Cause you can't just talk the talk, you got to walk that walk. Yes, you do. And it all means nothing if you don't stand up for something. And I'll stand up for you. Self-respect, dignity. If that's all you got, well, you got all you need. And without that, you don't have a thing. It all means nothing if you don't stand up for something. 'Cause you can't just talk the talk, you got to walk that walk. And yes, you do. It all means nothing if you don't stand up for something. And I'll stand up for you. I'll stand up for you. Yes, I will. Yes, I'll stand up for you. Yes, I'll stand up for you. Yes, I will. Yes, I will.
All right. That is Mandy Jo. Woo. Thank you, Mandy. All right. Thank you. Whoa, okay. So, hey, this morning's message is the thing itself. And where that comes from is traditionally in centers for spiritual living, across the country, if not across the globe. In January, we go back to the basics as brought forth by the founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, who wrote the book called The Science of Mind, and after it had been out for about 10 years, created an intro to it and said, hey, let's make this a little bit easier, to grasp. And so he wrote 4 initial chapters. And then when they started teaching the principles a few decades ago, they would leave off the initial chapters. And they said it was too complicated, it was too intense. But my contention is if Ernest didn't want you to read it at the beginning, he wouldn't have put it at the beginning. So with that said, I go back to the beginning in January, along with a number of other centers for spiritual living. And we start with the first introductory chapter, which is called The Thing Itself. Now that's talking about God. And in the old days, when you call God a thing or an it, that would be considered blasphemy. He was going to burn right there. But since then, in our era, we can call God anything you want. What's important is to be able to experience that presence. And so that is really what I'm going to be working on this morning, is for us to come to remember and to feel and experience that presence, because this year here at Seaside, what I'm committed to focusing on, our theme for the year is going to be about healing. All year long, it's going to be healing. Healing, healing, and healing. And when I talk about healing, I'm talking about whatever ails you. It's about bringing your life back into alignment. When I'm talking about healing, it could be healing the body and getting it back on track, having it work, come into balance and circulation, and just being like the legs were 20 again. Or it could be working with relationships. It could be creating a greater cash flow. It could be healing in a sense so you can step out and take the social action that you desire. It could be about making a difference in your family or your world. When I'm talking about healing, I'm talking about bringing forth that God presence to whatever has your attention for a greater expression of the divine. And so when Ernest Holmes talked about the thing itself, he was talking about that vibration. He was talking about what God is. And so this week here at Seaside, what we do is we're starting our classes up again in January. We're starting the foundation class, and I'd love for you to be there in the foundation class on Tuesday nights with me or Thursdays with Audra, where we go over the basic 10 principles of our philosophy. I even understand Rebecca's going to be in there this year. So, but I'm going to tell you what, if you can't make the class, I'll tell you what the first class is about, and here it is. Are you ready? It is about the thing itself. It is about God, because if you're going to do anything, it all starts with spirit, but not that anthropomorphic being in the clouds out there with the book keeping judgment or tabs on us. It is about your experience of that presence. It is about knowing. It is about feeling. It is about sensing. So when someone says God, some people have, chills go up the back of their spine. Oh, what does that mean? Or the old concepts. But what I want us to get is when someone says the word God, I want us to have that experience of what it is. And so I will ask the class, and I'll ask you too, so you can think about this, is I will ask them, so share in the class or with yourself, when was the time that you experienced that presence? See, that's what I'm going for. I'm not going for definition. I'm not going for words. I want to know when we mention that almighty, that infinite, that one, that absolute, that expression of joy, that love essence, that divine vibration, that first breath, first cause, first word, that essence of all things, that absolute, that we don't get caught up on the word, but instantly what happens is we go to that remembrance and that experience of what that presence is. Do you follow me? Good, you're there. So, people share, it's walking along the beach at sunset and the sun's going down and I'm feeling my oneness with everything. Yeah, that's it. Or in the trees, in the mountains, and I can feel the stillness and the power. Yeah, that's it. Or when I held my child for the first time and I looked into the eyes of the new soul that has entrusted me to get it going in this world, and I saw the presence of God. I saw the wisdom, a love of a mom between her child. I mean, that's about as high of an expression of spirit as we can get in the world. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, when I say spirit or the thing itself, I want us to get into that remembrance of that divine vibration, of that absolute as it has touched our life. So it's not a definition in the head, but it is a whole being, body experience. And the thing about God is that it's everything. It's infinite. Got that? Okay. So if it's infinite, there is no otherness. Kind of logical. You know, if Spirit's everything, then there cannot be anything else. I mean, we might be having this human experiences with our challenges and our difficulties, but that is not the spiritual truth of our being. And our healing comes about, excuse me, our healing comes about when we begin to come back to the remembrance of who we are, the truth of our being, and that life force. Because I'll tell you what we're tapping into is the same thing that our ancestors tapped into from the beginning of time. Is this starting to move too much on me? Better. How's that? Not working. I'm going to grab this over here. You guys okay with that? All right. How dread the night. How lost the soul when fear. Okay. So where was I? What was the last thing I said? I was talking about our ancestors. That's it. We're talking about that spirit. That's not bound up in time. You know, whether it was yesterday or 5,000 years ago, our ancestors were still working on healing in their life. They were still working on understanding the deeper meaning of things. You know, one person asked their teacher, is there more to life than, chopping wood and carrying water? You know, they would say, yes and no. It's all chopping. It's all wood. It's all carrying. It's all in the water. It's all there. Spirit is omnipresent, and what you want to be is fully present with that divine experience. And so our ancestors from thousands of years ago were trying to understand this spirit and how it all works and the deeper meaning of things. And they were on this journey, and I want us to realize that we are on this journey also. And so I invite you to go with Seaside in 2019 on this journey of healing and deeper understanding the spiritual expression that is going on in life. Because you're on this journey, your ancestors were on your journey, so we might as well commit. 2019, I'm in it. I'm healing. I'm expressing greater in my life. That's my heart's desire made manifest is what I'm looking for. You up for that? Okay, that's what we're going for, right here, right now, and ways that are powerful and right. And so it comes from the manifesting aspect of this, I believe, is coming to understand that there is no otherness, that is purely spirit in all things. And so as I begin to deepen my listening, my hearing, my openness to that presence of God, I begin to see more. I hear more. And one of the privileges that I get is I oftentimes will get to sit with those that are in the process of making their transition. And I got to tell you, there's nothing that deepens my listening than sitting there in that moment with someone who is questioning and looking and listen in the sacred space. And I begin to hear weights drop from people's lives. I see sacred and hear sacred wounds, ancient wounds, begin to fall away, and forgiveness embraced, and deeper understanding. And I so often will wonder, what is that person looking through those 80, 90, 100-year-old eyes, seeing at that point in their life and in their world? And I remember sitting with my dad, who, those aged hands that once held little Christian in them, just reaching out to something holy that was right there all the time, and just seeing something that is in this sacred space that I couldn't quite see, but yet I find myself trying to listen and to feel even at a deeper level. I can remember walking out of the room one of those last times and then kind of stopping and looking back, and he didn't know that I was looking back. And I could just see his eyes twinkling with amazement as he was looking at something just between like the bed and the sliding glass window, that there was the celestial choir that he was hearing and listening and smiling to, that is always available to us. And that's the thing, is when we are able to open our hearts and our souls and recognize that if I listen a little bit deeper, I'll begin to know that omnipresent, presence. God is there, just beyond what I see. And I've watched people reach for it when the veil begins to part. I've watched amazing weights drop from people's world, which is a true healing and transformation because the consciousness has shifted. There is no longer any otherness of resentment or pain or anger or old stories. It's just fully present in that love and the celestial sounds and the grace of God that healing happens. And it's not because you're trying to make it happen, but it's because all of a sudden you are listening and hearing that something that is more than the earthly concerns that are going on. I'll be sitting here towards the end of the week, and my desk is piled with stuff, and I'm thinking, well, if I stick around till 6 o'clock, I should be able to get most everything done and the desk cleaned up. So when I arrive on Sunday morning, the desk will be clean. I'll be able to start off, on Monday pretty even for the week. But then I'm sitting there, and the sun is shining outside, and my heart is begging me to burst forth and go out to the sun. And the little rabbit, this white-tailed guy, has been hanging out by my door, just flirting with me for the last few months, saying, come on out and come play. And what I recognize is I'm brought to that point that we all come to is, what do I do here? We are brought to the point, what am I going to listen to? That which makes a lot of sense I need to take care of, or am I going to listen to that part that's going to take me beyond the edge of where I'm used to hanging out? We all have to decide whether we are going to spend or save, earn or experience. We get to decide whether I'm going to do what others put out for me to do, or am I going to go right to the edge of what it is I know to discover what my heart wants to burst forth into freedom. We're dealing with there is no otherness, so the choice that I make, I'm going to meet God. I'm going to know that presence. If I listen deep enough, I will find myself escorted, but am I going to listen to that which brings me a greater joy? Am I going to recognize that there's a joy, or am I going to take these seeds of joy and plant them because for a future time, I'm going to put them aside because you know what? I'm going to go for the security for my future as opposed to being the joy of this present moment. But the thing about God is that it can only be experienced now in this moment. Now is the appointed time. Teilhard de Chardin says, joy is the infallible sign of the presence of God. Healing only takes place in the now moment. And I am the one, you are the one who gets to decide, is this going to be that moment of healing? Yes, good. I'm glad it's going to be. Because Spirit is omnipresent. You get what that means? Oh, this is good. Good. I mean, basically, it means it's impossible for you to be anywhere that God is not. That's omnipresent. There is no place where God is not. And, Jesus, master healer. Oh my goodness, this guy had it down. And what we talk about within our philosophy, which differentiates us from some of the Christianity, is that we don't hold him out as this great exception, but rather as the wonderful possibility of the human expression of a man by the name of Jesus who embraced such a sense of that infinite that there was no otherness. Those that see me see the one that sent me. I am the light. That consciousness. We talk about a man who embraced such a knowingness of the infinite that he was that we call that state of awareness or that state of consciousness the Christ consciousness. If you can come into a place where there is no otherness, you become that place where Spirit is expressing. There is a vibration, there is a sense where healing happens around you. Not because you're trying to mock up this picture of wholeness and a little Pac-Man eating up that cancer cell and you make it go away and all those things. Those approaches can work. But the thing about Jesus is he was that. And so within his presence, things happen. And it's not because he struggled or tried to hold these pictures. It's not as if he diagnosed, you got this pain, it's bad back, you're having difficulty with finances, or, you got ulcers, you're worried. None of that mattered. He didn't have his little tongue depressor and say, let me look in there. You came into his field of God awareness where there was no otherness, and healing happened. Right? The lame walked. The blind could see. The afflicted were freed. Not because he was doing all this great stuff, but because who he was Spirit expressing. And what is amazing in reading the stories is that it happened easy. Wherever he went, good things happened, for the most part. But parties be the first on my list to invite, changing water to wine. It's like good happened around him, not because he tried to heal, not because he tried to make things, because it wasn't him. It was the presence. It was the Spirit. It was God. It was the thing itself. There could be nothing else in that divine vibration and that divine presence. That's how it works. So why is it some people can pray and healing happens and others pray and it doesn't? I think that's one of the same questions our ancestors were dealing with even back then. How come the shamans got the good juju and we don't? Well, Ernest Holmes addressed that in his book, The Science of Mind. Now, The Science of Mind has become our textbook. It came out in 1927. But just want to reiterate that he said, hey, this wasn't a revelation to me, guys. I didn't go behind the curtain and this was given to me in secrecy and this is a divine revelation. But rather, he said, this seems to be the common thread of truth that shows up through the great religions. Whether it's Eastern, Western, indigenous. It's like this stuff seems to be here. And it kind of makes sense. He said that, what's mind? No, I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to do the second paragraph. So you textbook-toting metaphysicians, page 28, paragraph 2. He wrote, since some people have been healed through prayer, while others have not, the answer is not that God has responded to some and not to others, but that some have responded to God more than others. Their prayer or their thought has responded by corresponding. The answer to prayer is in the prayer. But what is prayer? Prayer is a movement of thought within the mind of the one praying along a definite line of meditation. That's it, for a specific purpose. Got that? Good. It's this corresponding. That was the thing with Jesus. It was a corresponding, a reciprocating. There could be nothing else in his field. That was just, excuse me, I hide that. So there we go. Take the tape behind my ears so it doesn't come off. Didn't work. Where I'm going with all this. Corresponding, that's it. What's corresponding? I'll tell you. Here you go. Go back, in Socrates' days, in the days of the Greeks, they had the pneuma, which was Socrates' big thing. He had a lot of followers who believed in the air or the breath. That was the thing, that we live within the breath, in the air. This is where the healing happens. Your thinking happens within this space and healing unfolds. And if something goes wrong, you take a look at what's going on within that thinking. And then 500 years later comes Jesus. And he kind of agreed with that kind of perspective of the pneumatic Socrates philosophy, but rather he took it one step further. And he didn't talk about it as the pneuma or the breath. What he talked about it was life itself. The Hebrews talked about in Job, the breath of life, the breath of spirit is my life. But Jesus talked about it as life. And what was different here is that for Socrates, it was something that was different than they were. And what Jesus did is he brought it to the concept that I am that. I am that life. I am that light. I am that way. That is the consciousness. That is the spirit. And he's saying that I am that. You are that also. What I can do, you can do. And it can be that easy. And so what differentiated him from some of those classical Greek philosophers is he said, I am that and you are that. And spirit is that expressing through you as you. And as you begin to take that, you get, oh yeah, I've got that stuff. I can begin to feel confident in my self-expression. And what happens is somehow we start doing life and we lose that sense of self-confidence, self-worth, self-assurance. But I'll tell you, when you got into this world, you didn't have any lack of confidence in who you are. You take a look at any baby. They know that they are worthy of your attention. They got cute down. And I want you to know, you guys still have cute down. I know you know how to give the look if you need to do that, right? But the babies had the cute down, and if you didn't respond and you didn't to the cute, then they cry. And if you don't respond to crying, then they throw the tantrum. But they're going to get your attention no matter what. I'm sure of that. I was sitting in a restaurant not too long ago. Nice seat, nice quiet, and in comes a family with a baby. And they sit down right next to me in that booth. And this little baby child wanted the attention. And sure enough, it got the attention of the whole restaurant going on. And it definitely got my attention as it started throwing mashed potatoes at me. And so what I get is that there's something inside of us that has a desire to be seen. That what wants to be seen is spirit expressing, doing your dharma, doing your thing. And people will often say, well, I don't want to really be noticed. But I'll tell you what, there is a part of you that knows you came into this world to do something, and you want to be seen. Nice job, Christian. I want to be seen. That's why I stand up here and speak. Your singers, they sing. We've got our jobs where we want to be acknowledged. You've got creations. You build houses. We do all sorts of things. We like to see our name in the paper. And that drive that is within us, I believe, is spirit coming to the surface. It is the thing itself that is manifesting as you because there is no otherness. It's a strong desire. I know Freud said the strongest desire within us is our sexual urge. But Alfred Adler talked about it is that divine impulse. It is that desire to create. It's the one who wants to be seen. It is the one who wants to pitch. Give me the ball, coach. Let me in the game. It is the one who wants to lead the parade, if you would. That is our true strong nature. That is the thing itself. There is no otherness. It is what has come into this world to do, and we are here to do that. And when it gets tapped, it comes alive. I mean, advertising and marketing knows that. They get a good-looking person or a powerful or popular person. They associate it with their product, and everybody says, I want that. I want to smell like them, or look like that or be that. I mean, I got an advertisement just last month from a magazine that says, we found your name on several lists that indicate that you are an intelligent, smart person, well-read, who enjoys good literature, science, and I don't know, some other things. And we sure you would enjoy, our subscription. And it's like, yeah, I would. You got me pegged, man. That's me all the way. Smart, intelligent. They forgot good looking, but it was good. But see, that's the thing. There is something inside of us that feels, that responds, that knows, that wants to express itself in this world. And as we begin to listen, and see, that's the thing I come back to, is that deep listening. I'm not talking about hearing with your ears. I'm talking about the totality of one's being embraced by that life force. That's what heals. It's not the definition or the words that I speak. It is being in that divine frequency where there is no otherness that can be there, and it's not an effort. It falls away. It's the way it works, but you got to listen. I can remember first learning to listen in a deep way. Didn't even have words for it. I was probably, 4 or 5. Some of my first memories, we always had a beach house in Malibu for the summer. And 5-year-old, I can still remember being on the sand and just hearing the waves coming in and then going out, and just coming in and going out. I could feel the ground shake beneath me. I could feel the pulse, the life force, the energy. I remember looking out the window at night, square window, and it was dark out, but the moon was shining on the ocean, and it forced me to hear something I didn't have words for at the time. And a year or two later, I remember our mountain cabin and being in the snow and the silence of the snow. There's like a thunder in the silence. You know that silence I'm speaking about? It's like you're forced to hear how quiet it is in that snow. And all of a sudden, at an early age, I began to recognize that there's something to hear beyond the spoken words that didn't necessarily have definition, but it is a life force that I could be brought to my knees on this earth and I could feel her speaking, or I could hear the silence or something. But it's only as we began to develop this lowly listening that we begin to catch the vision of the greater possibility and to see as God sees, because there is no other way to see this situation in our life and in our world when we're able to open up with it. And so it doesn't mean we haven't made mistakes along the way or the challenges or the difficulties, but Ernest Holmes addresses that also from this chapter. Where he wrote that intuitively we sense that all of us in our natural state is some part of the manifestation of the eternal principle. Right? Do you feel like you're part of that? Spirit's everything. You're part of that, right? Okay, we feel that something. and that the entire problem of limitation, of evil, of suffering, of uncertainty is not God ordained, but it is the result of our ignorance. It has been written that the truth shall make us free, provided we know the truth. And we note that the evolution of our consciousness brings with it the acquisition of a new power, of a higher possibility. So that's what we're working on knowing, is a greater truth about where we feel ourselves stuck, or where the challenge is, or the scarcity, or the difficulty. Because Ernest wrote, there was no cosmic famine. The infinite alone was wroth. And so, yeah, I don't know what that line's all about. I'm skipping it. So there was no cosmic famine. God is always God, no matter what our emotional storm or what our objective situation may be. There is always a something hidden in the innermost being that has never been violated. Oh, we may stumble, but always there is that eternal voice, that whisper I'm saying you got to listen for. Forever whispering within our ear, that thing which causes the eternal quest, that thing which forever sings and sings and sings. There's that part of you that's never been violated. Like that circumpunk that Dr. Christina was talking about. You are a point in that infinite. You are that point. You are the circumference. You are all of that. And what you choose to tap into, whether it is the challenge, the evil, the scarcity, the limitation, or the abundance, the good, the spirit, the freedom, and the joy, you are in that point of the infinite realm of possibilities that doesn't say you can't have this, you can't have that. You get to experience what it is you want. But if you're living within that conscious field that Jesus was doing, of pure spirit, of the divine knowingness, then what naturally shows up is that which supports your good and your greater good. But you have to leave space in your heart for something greater to show up. You've got to leave space in your heart for the unimaginable. How's that? I like that one, a little more poetic. Yeah. I am leaving space within my heart for the unimaginable. Friday, it was Trevor's birthday, 19 years old. What he wanted to do for his birthday was go to this car museum. He found this car museum in Torrance. It was called the Honda Car Museum. We went online. There it was. There are the directions. There's the time it opens. No phone number, but that's okay. We had all the information right there. We timed the traffic just right. Jumping on the freeway, heading toward L.A. on a Friday is not the wisest choice, but we're going as spirit goes, and there will be no traffic. So, we got up there, and we got to the location, the museum, but the museum's not there. And came to discover it moved like a year ago. But they left this site up just to trick us, I'm sure. And we walked through this big open warehouse. Well, I got to tell you, Trevor really gets fixated on things. And the fact that he couldn't go to this museum was not sitting well with him. And, I said, Trevor, look, it's empty. There's nothing we can do. And all of a sudden, it's like we said, we need to regroup. We had some friends, went to their house, pulled out their laptop, took a look. And Callie found another car museum in Tustin. Yeah, there she is. Mom's determination will not. You got to have room for the unimaginable to show up. And so Tustin is kind of on the way home. It's not really, but it's a little further east, but it's still south of where we were in the South Bay in Hermosa or Torrance. And so by the time we got there, it was now like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But you know what? Trevor, issues with crowds. You've heard me talk about that. The place was empty. There was literally not one other person in this whole car museum with over 70 exotic cars for Trevor to touch, to feel, to look at, to experience. And it was like the greatest experience that he could have had in terms of a car museum for his birthday, which just goes to prove for me that, we may have a good idea, but let us know that it's still our idea, because there are so many more greater ideas than we've ever begun to delve into. And it unfolded with an ease and grace, because we were so prayed up in advance to deal with traffic that whatever came our way was not going to impede us. And so just remember, your good ideas are your good ideas, but there's so much more than what it is you think and what you know. But you've got to create the space for it. You've got to be able to enter into a place to allow Spirit to be. But we get so caught up in making it be that that's not the way it happens. You've got to allow for your awakeness to happen. You've got to make yourself prepared to receive the greater possibilities and the ideas, because there's only one mind, but you can't make it happen. And particularly when you're holding on how you think it's supposed to be or what happened or what should be. There was this person who was riding on a train at night. He had the upper bunk, and the person below them was just moaning, "Oh, I'm so thirsty." "Oh, God, I'm so thirsty." So this person they had it. They came down the ladder, got 2 cups of water, said, "Here, drink." Crawled back up there, gulp it down. They're lying, starting to drift off to nirvana, and all of a sudden heard the moaning again. "Oh, I was so thirsty. Oh, God, I was so thirsty." And it just reminds me, this is what we do. We get healed and we still talk about it. Do you ever overcome a dis-ease or a challenge in your world and you're still talking about it? Why? Aren't you done with that? Remember, there is so much more good that is available beyond what it is you know, but you have got to be available to it. And it's that simple. You come to that divine frequency in that field and allow yourself, and then you will be moved. It's not like you don't have to do your work. It's not as if you don't have to get up off that meditation cushion. It's not as if you don't have to get out there in life, but you do it with an ease. You do it with a grace. What you want to do is to be in that divine frequency, because there is no otherness. It is omnipresent. And as I choose to recognize that right where I am, even if it's at the moment of death, there is something just beyond my reach that is so spectacular, that is right there. There is a celestial choir singing of infinity that if I am able to listen clear enough that I can hear, it is always there. It is fully there, and it is only going to express itself now in this moment, not what was, what will be, but right here, right now. It can be that simple. The last line from this chapter, the first chapter of the Science of My textbook, Ernest Holmes says, "Let it be simple." It can be simple. Anything you perceive and conceive as being difficult will be that for you. So let it be simple. My challenge to you this week is just do some deep listening with God, and it will be simple. God bless you, and you're healed. Love you. Hey, let's keep it going as we bring Mandy Joe back to our stage.
I see trees of green and red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh, the colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. All the colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Thank you, Mandy, Joe. All right, wonderful world. All right, well, this is the time of our service where we have the opportunity to share our gift, to share our offering, to be able to contribute to the ongoingness of this spiritual expression. And as you give, it comes back. That's like the law of correspondence, but that's not why you do it. You do it because it's an extension of your consciousness. You do it because you're the activity that Spirit is having in your life. And being that activity, that is what reciprocates back to you. So you give without the strings, without the expectations. You're just supporting Spirit's work, and what you find is Spirit supports its work as your life in those ways that are relevant and real and significant. What happens is you find yourself in that vibration, and things come into alignment, and healing happens, not because you're trying to make it happen. It's just because Spirit's work is showing up in your life in ways that are relevant. And so I invite you to listen to your heart and listen to that vision of support and be willing to share that and just see what happens. So with that, I'd like to invite ushers to come forward and say thank you to this wonderful crew. Thank you to those who mail in your contributions when you can't be here on a Sunday. It is greatly appreciated. And those who practice our auto tithe, the regular systematic support, from your world into Seaside's, it is greatly appreciated for sure. And so I share this prayer of gratitude with the most generous of spiritual communities, knowing that this truly is a blessed moment where the divine expresses through each and every one of us, that we become that vortex through which the infinite passes into form. We are that avenue, that channel, that conduit that taps into that infinite reservoir that is truly inexhaustible, and it pours forth into our world in the ways in which we direct it through our action, through our thinking, and through our activity. For truly we become the one who directs that hose of the infinite flow. So with joy, we take that which has graced our world and we share that, and what we find is this grace and this joy continue to bless everyone who comes in contact. I say thank you, Father, Mother God, for this expanding awareness, this higher thought, this new thought that continues to expand the receptivity of the divine download as experienced here and now. So it is. Amen. And together, let us share this affirmation of abundance, which is, Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully, I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good as my life now. And those are your guys from Seaside. Nice job, guys. And so as I stand before this bounty, I can feel the outpouring of the love and the caring and the compassion for each of us becomes that divine emanation and expression of Spirit. We become that place where Spirit is brought forth into expression in this world. And so your gift is an expression of that love and that caring and that compassion and that support. And what I know right now is that which has been given in love has been received in love and is handled in good stewardship as it is put forth back into that flow, bringing that love and that joy and that sense of comfort to all that comes in contact. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this opportunity to be part of this affluent flow of life. And so it is. Amen. All right. Hey, this is Josh Franklin. He is your board vice chair here at Seaside. And always a joy. I know you invite everyone to the congregational meeting on the 27th. So that extended to you. But thank you, Mandy, Joe, very much for the wonderful music that you bring to Seaside. And Rebecca, thank you very much for the wonderful direction and artistry and gifts that you share. And aren't you off gigging next week with Sheila? Yeah, well, yeah, where's that? Oh, you didn't get enough cruising last week. You need to go again, huh? Somewhere fun? That's it. Oh, okay. Well, we're doing winter here, so, you know. Anyway, hey, Dr. Christina, always a joy to share Sunday mornings with you. Dr. Christina, giving us sound today is Ed. Giving us the visuals is Marv. So nice job, guys. And a big shout out to our wonderful film crew. We got Steve and Edwin in the editing room doing the switching between the three cameras, and those behind the cameras, thank you very much. And here's just some of the names that are online. First, big shout out to one of our online practitioners, David McNasters. He is handling the chat room because all the people watching us are chatting. So some of the ones are Tracy online and Sue Ling and Dana and Waleska and Dennis and Victoria and Katie and Helen and Sandy and Cher from North Carolina. It's just, we're making a difference with what we're doing here. You know, our online presence, whether it's Facebook Live or our online, is significant. So plan to just continue to share your love here at Seaside. We're making a difference in the world in which we live. And to help develop the consciousness, classes are starting this week. So take a look at the Sunday program. You saw Monday night, Ida's doing one on intuition. Sharon's doing the visioning board next Saturday. The foundation classes are going. We're going to give you the basic principles on how to create the good. This year is about healing. Come to understand the basics that are available. And also the beauty of what we have is community. You know, it's being able to discover and explore this together. We've got the men's group that's Saturday morning right here, right? This coming Saturday with Ray. And so come be part of that. The women in the afternoon, Reverend Lori Mack, along with Callie, you guys rented a big, huge bus for the women's march, right? So all the women are, well, I know you're getting close to selling out, but then aren't you, is this a secret, but you guys are going to do the flash mob at the women's march. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So, you know, talk to Reverend Lori Mack at the sisters table and find out what's up with that. There's a lot of things that are going on at Seaside that just empower us to be able to walk our walk, recognizing the omnipresence of Spirit in all things. And the more we can do it in a place of peace and when things are balanced, that when we're challenged, we're able to fall back upon that experience of knowing that I can hear some deeper, you know, I can hear deeper. Even when I'm rocked, I can hear deeper. So let's go to that place together right now where we are able to feel that presence. And hear, deep listening, hear. Feel that presence, that life force. I want to invite any of our religious science practitioners that are present today to stand and just everyone feel that upliftment at this time, this light, this life, this love. That manifesting essence of the divine. Oh, it's indescribable. But we're invited to feel it at the highest level of whether it's walking along the beach, hearing the silence, the mountains, looking into your child's eyes for the first time, and you absolutely know that there's something more beyond definition. There is a life force. There is an intelligence. There is a first cause, first pulse, first breath, first word. That is that which breathed each of us into expression. Feel that. Sense that. That's the truth of your being. That is the knowledge that young one came into this world, said, hey, notice me. Spirit has arrived. And that confidence, that assurance is still alive. that deep knowingness of the truth of being that is spirit. It knows the truth of being. And so if there's anything in the human condition that has been knocked out of whack, whether it's in your physical body, your world of affairs, your business, your family, that's the human experience. We don't deny that those experiences happen in the human condition, in the human form. But what we do affirm is that the spiritual truth, that does not exist. There is no otherness. There is not the infinite and my pain and difficulty or challenge. There is only the infinite. And as I step into that place, good just tends to follow, not because I'm trying to make anything happen, but because I become that place where spirit touches down. I become conscious of that infinite. I become that which spirit is, which is expressing its wholeness, its truth, its vibrancy, its aliveness, and anything unlike that naturally falls away. Not because I'm telling the junk to get out of my world, but because there cannot be any junk in that divine vibration in God's world. And so as each of us stands in that wonderful frequency of spirit, in the wholeness and the truth from which we were created, as we unite in that divine consciousness of the infinite, that power that can move mountains, that which can transform lives, is the very essence that is personalizing its expression as our very experience now. And a heaviness falls away. I don't have to transition to have the ancient wounds dissolve in front of the state of forgiveness as grace. For right there, just my reach is the celestial realm, waiting to find expression through the conduit of our being. Be that divine vortex. And watch the world in which you walk come into alignment in your body, in your family, in the nation, and upon this planet. For in that divine field there is no otherness. And you have been called for a time such as this to be like that tuning fork that vibrates to the divine ideal. And there is a peace and a love that is going out from this community. And it's touching the nation, the planet. It is contributing to that collective consciousness of the greater good that is emerging. And I'm grateful to be part of that. Thankful to be part of a community that is thriving and growing and expanding, that continues to remind each of us the truth of our being, from whence we came, the truth of our heritage, and the truth of our being, which is spirit expressing. And this I am grateful for. I'm thankful that the words I've shared, that they're the truth, that they're manifesting. And I hold within this light our beautiful sister here at Seaside, Mary Anderson, one-time practitioner, son, sat with her many times, Steve Fisherman, whose boat went down this week off the Oregon coast, and he was lost along with the rest of the crew. That we know Steve moves on with those wonderful currents of eternality, able to express himself with a greater freedom, with a healthier body, with the exuberance for which he was out fishing, and what he continues to do. And for Mary, that she is surrounded by all of our love and our caring and our compassion, for a mom is never meant to lose her child first. And I know right now that she falls or rests upon a peace that passes any kind of logic or any kind of understanding. She finds the peace of the omnipresence of spirit, for there is no otherness. So Seaside continues to be committed to bringing forth spirit in all things. This year of healing is a year in which there continues to be physical healings and emotional healings, financial healings, and just amazing positive transformations, because we let God go of our idea of good and know that God's is even greater. And we create space within our heart. Let go of the old story of I was thirsty, and live with a state of grace and gratitude, appreciation for God is, and the isness of it all. That which spirit is, I am, you are, God is. This I let go to, this I trust. This is what I believe, and so it is. Amen.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient.
Didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. And this is what you have to say. Come on, Seaside. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. Said no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Said I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. Said no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Seaside, sing it from your heart. Beautiful. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yeah.
And our affirmation for the week is, I am spirit expressing. Together, I am spirit expressing. Touch your heart and say it again. I am spirit expressing. One more time like you mean it. Come on. I am spirit expressing. And our song of grace.
I'm living in love. I'm living in peace. I'm living my life for what I believe, through joys and through fears. In this world I walk, God's grace shines on me, and it shines on us all. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We're living in love. We're living in peace. United